Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. A. Muhammad Mahroob Raja, Assistant Professor, PG and Research Department of Microbiology, Jamal Muhammad College, Tiruchirappalli. Now I am going to discuss virulence factor. Before that, I am going to discuss characters of pathogens, especially in bacteria. Bacteria are present inside us, on us, and around in our environment. They comes under the resident flora. It means bacteria present inside us helps in digestion of food. It comes under the unharmful material. Then transition flora, it means bacteria which we get from environment like air, drinking water, food, dust and clothes comes under the harmful environment. Bacteria get activated when meet favorable condition. The bacteria should be able to enter the body. Organism should be able to multiply in the tissue. They should be able to damage the tissue. They must be capable to resist the host defenses. Pathogenicity is refers to the ability of microbial species to produce disease. The increased level of pathogenicity is called as virulence. Virulence is refers to the ability of microbial strain to produce disease. Factors of virulence. Various factors is there. First one is adhesin. The initial event in the pathogenesis of many infection is the attachment of the bacteria to body surfaces. This attachment is specific reaction between surface receptor and adhesive structures on the surface of the bacteria. This is called as adhesins. Another factor is invasiveness, is the ability of organism to spread in a host tissue after establishing infection. Less invasive organism cause localized lesion. Highly invasive organism cause generalized infection, especially in septicemia. Then toxigenicity. Bacteria produce two types of toxin. One is exotoxin, another one is endotoxin. Exotoxin, it is a heat labile proteins. It diffuse readily into the surrounding medium. It is highly potent. Example, 3 kg of botulinum can kill all the inhabitants of world. They are generally formed by gram-positive bacteria and also by gram-negative organism like Shigella, Vibrio cholerae and E. coli. Exotoxin is specifically neutralized antitoxin. It can be separated from culture by filtration. Action is enzymatic and it has specific tissue affinity. Specific pharmacological effect for each exotoxin. It cannot cause pyrexia in a host. It can be toxoidal. Endotoxin is a lipid portion of lipopolysaccharide. It has a biological activities causing fever, muscle proteolysis, uncontrolled intravascular coagulation and shock. These may be mediated by production from mononuclear cell of interleukin 1, probably interleukin 6. Characterization of endotoxin is it is a protein polysaccharide lipid complex heat stable one. It forms part of cell wall, don't diffuse into the medium. It's obtained only by cell lysis. They have no enzymatic action. Its effect is non-specific action, no specific tissue affinity. It activates only in large doses 5 to 25 mg. It is weakly antigenic. Neutralization by antibody is ineffective. It cannot be toxoided. It produces in gram-negative bacteria. Communicability is the ability of parasite to spread from one host to another. It determines the survival and distributions of organisms in a community. Coagulase is an enzyme caused by Staphylococcus aureus which prevents the phagocytosis by forming fibrin barrier around bacteria. Fibrinolysin promotes the spread of infection by breaking down the fibrin barrier in the tissue. Hyaluronidase, it split hyaluronic acid. It is a component of connective tissue. Leukocidin, it damages the polymarbonuclear leukocytes. IgA protease, it split IgA and inactivate its antibody activity. Hemolysin is produced by some organism capable of destroying erythrocytes. Infecting dose. The minimum infection dose, it is otherwise called as MID, or minimum lethal dose, it is otherwise called as MLD, is the minimum number of organisms required to produce clinical evidence of infection or death of susceptible animals. Route of infection, that is a Vibrio cholerae, is effective orally. The route of infection is effective orally. No effect when it is introduced subcutaneously. Streptococcus, it can initiate infection whatever be the mode of entry. Disease, any deviation from conditions of good health and well-being. Infectious disease, a disease condition caused by presence of growth of infectious microorganism or parasite. Reservoir of infection, it is a source of an infectious agent. Carrier, it means any individual who carries an infectious agent without manifesting symptoms, yet who can transmit the agent to another individual. Communicable disease, a disease that can be transmitted from one individual to another. Non-communicable disease, a disease that is not transmitted from one individual to another. Contagious disease, it means a communicable that is easily spread from one to another. Epidemiology means the study of transmission of disease. Types of infectious disease. Infectious disease may be localized or generalized. Localized infection may be superficial or deep-seated. Circulation of bacteria in the blood is known as bacteremia. Circulation of virus in the blood is called virusmia. Then types of infectious disease. One is septicemia, is the condition where bacteria circulate and multiply in the blood, form toxic products and cause swing type of fever. Pyemia is the condition where biogenic bacteria produce septicemia with multiple abscess in the internal organ such as the spleen, liver and kidney. Depending upon the spread of infectious disease in the community, they may be classified into different types. Endemic, so one of the types of infectious endemic disease are ones that are constantly present in a particular area. Typhoid fever is endemic in most parts of India. An epidemic disease is one that spread rapidly, involving many persons in an area at the same time. Example, influenza causes annual winter epidemics in the cold countries. A pandemic is an epidemic that spread through many areas of the world, involving very large number of persons within a short period. Example, influenza, cholera and plague. Epidemics vary in the rapidity of spread. Waterborne diseases such as cholera, hepatitis may cause explosive outbreak, while disease which spread by person to person contact evolve more slowly. Period of disease. Various categories. So first one is a entry of pathogen, that is a portal entry. Then colonization, usually at the site of entry. After colonization, incubation period, organism present, no clinical sign and symptom. Prodromal period, it means initial symptoms like mild and generalized symptoms like fever, weakness and headache. Then acute period, it means fully developed infection. Invasive stage, it means increasing severity of symptom specific to the disease, fever, inflammation, swelling, tissue damage. Infection may spread to other site also. Decline stage, it means symptoms subside. Convulsion stage, it means no symptom, health returns to normal. Chain of infection is a process of infection that begins when an agent leaves its reservoir through portal of exit and is conveyed by mode of transmission, then enters through an appropriate portal of entry to infect a susceptible host. A chain of infection is a process in which a favorable condition is required for microorganism to spread or transfer from the reservoir to a susceptible host. Reservoir, it is the place where the microorganism reside, thrives and reproduce. That is food, water, toilet, seat elevator buttons, human fecals and respiratory secretion, etc. Chain of infection, portal or exit or escape. It is the place where the microorganism leaves the reservoir, such as respiratory like nose and mouth, intestinal tract, rectum through stool, urinary tract or blood and other body fluids. Portal of entry, the opening where an infectious disease enters the host body, such as mucous membrane, open wounds or tubes inserted in body cavities like urinary catheters or feeding tubes. Susceptible host, it is a person who is at risk for developing an infection from the disease. The disease includes chronic disease such as diabetes or asthma, conditions that weaken the immune system like HIV, certain types of medication, invasive devices like feeding tubes and malnutrition. Thank you.